Hello, my name is Dr. Steele, and welcome to Steele Mathematics, where lessons in Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calculus, and Calculus are taught. And today, we are going to talk about multiplying and dividing radical expressions. Now, multiplying radical expressions is basically like multiplying polynomials, or specifically binomials. There'll be cases where it's like multiplying a binomial by a monomial, which is by distributive property, or multiplying two binomials, which is by FOIL method. Let's see what this is talking about. All right, so let's say we have negative square root of 5 times 5 plus square root of 5. Well, we just applied the distributive property. Negative square root of 5 times 5 is negative 5 square root of 5 minus the square root of 25. We could take the square root of 25, and that will give you 5. Therefore, your final solution is negative 5 times the square root of 5 minus 5. Next, we have 4 times the square root of 5 times 4 plus 2 times square root of 5. Well, 4 times square root of 5 times 4 is 16 times square root of 5. When you're multiplying radicals, you multiply your coefficients and you multiply your radicands. Next, we have 8 times the square root of 25. Now you can take the square root of 25, which is 5, and 8 times 5 is 40. Therefore, your final solution is 16 times the square root of 5 plus 40. Now, number 3, you have two binomials. So, we can apply the FOIL method. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 equals the square root of 4. Square root of 2 times 1 is the square root of 2. 5 times the square root of 2 is 5 times the square root of 2. And 5 times 1 is 5. Now you can take the square root of 4, which is 2. We're going to bring the rest down. So now what we're going to do, we're going to combine the like terms. First, we have 2 and 7. 2 plus 7 is 9. Next, we have, and this is really a 1 times the square root of 2, and 5 times the square root of 2. And you will get 6 times the square root of 2. Therefore, your solution is 9 plus 6 times the square root of 2. So for number 4, we have 3 times the square root of 5 plus the square root of 3 times negative 5 times the square root of 5 plus square root of 3. So we're going to apply the FOIL method. 3 times the square root of 5 times negative 5 times the square root of 5 is negative 15 times the square root of 25. Next, we have 3 times the square root of 5 times the square root of 3, and that will be 3 times the square root of 15. We have the square root of 3 times negative 5 times square root of 5. That gives you negative 5 times the square root of 15. Finally, we got the square root of 3 times the square root of 3, which is the square root of 9. We could take the square root of 25 which is 5, and we could take the square root of 9, which is 3. Negative 15 times 5 is negative 75. So finally, we're going to combine our like terms. First, we have negative 75 and 3. That would be negative 72. We have 3 times the square root of 15 and 5 times the square root of 15, which gives you 8 times the square root of 15. And that is your solution. So you see, it's just like working with monomials or binomials. You either apply the distributive property or the FOIL method. Now let's talk about division. So let's say we're doing 5 minus 3 times the square root of 5 over the square root of 16. Well, we can take the square root of 16, which is 4. Therefore, this will be your solution. Now, let me say this before I go any further. The ideal is not to have a square root in the denominator. Well, if you see number 6, we have a square root in the denominator, which is the square root of 11. Therefore, to get rid of the square root in the denominator, we're going to multiply the numerator by the square root of 11 and the denominator by the square root of 11. You're going to multiply both your numerator and your denominator by that square root. So in the numerator, we have 2 times the square root of 22 minus the square root of 55. And then we have 4 times the square root of 121. You could take the square root of 121, and that would be 11. And 4 times 11 is 44. Therefore, your solution is 2 times the square root of 22 minus the square root of 55 over 44. Now again, this process that we did here is called rationalizing the denominator. And that's what you do every time you have a square root in the denominator. But now look at number 7. Notice we have an expression in the denominator, not a radical. So here's what you do. You're going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of -1 plus 5 times square root of 2, which is 1 minus 5 times the square root of 2. And by the way, these are called conjugates. These are binomials where only the sign in the middle are opposite. So now we're going to multiply our numerator. This would be negative square root of 2 minus 5 times the square root of 4. On the bottom, whenever you have conjugates, you get what is called a difference of squares. So the square of negative 1 is positive 1, and the square of 5 times the square root of 2 is 25 times the square root of 4. Difference of squares. Now, we can take the square root of 4. The square root of 4 is 2. So 5 times 2, or negative 5 times 2 is negative 10, and negative 25 times 2 is negative 50. And that's a positive 1, excuse me. Not negative 1, positive 1. So negative 1 minus 50 is negative 49. And if we have to simplify, we're changing all the signs. So therefore, this would be the square root of 2 plus 10 over 49. And that is your solution. All right, next we have 3 times the square root of 3 minus the square root of 5 over 2 minus the square root of 3. Again, we have an expression in the denominator. So to get rid of the square root, we're going to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by the conjugate of 2 minus the square root of 3, which is 2 plus the square root of 3. So now we're going to do our multiplications. FOIL method. We have 6 times the square root of 3 plus 3 times the square root of 9 minus 2 times the square root of 5 minus the square root of 15. And on the bottom, we have 4 minus the square root of 9. So now we're going to simplify this a little bit. We could take the square root of 9, which is 3, again, the square root of 9 is 3. So let's see. We got 6 times the square root of 3 plus 3 times 3 is 9 minus 2 times the square root of 5 minus the square root of 15. And on the bottom, we have 4 minus 3, which is 1. And this will give you 6 times the square root of 3 plus 9 minus 2 times the square root of 5 minus the square root of 15. And this will be your solution. So multiplying and dividing radical expressions is just like what you do with binomials and monomials. If you're multiplying a binomial by monomial, just apply the distributive property. If you're multiplying two binomials, you're applying the FOIL method or box method if you like. But you also got to remember that we cannot have a radical in the denominator. Therefore, you're going to multiply your numerator and denominator by either the radical in the denominator or the conjugate of the expression in the denominator. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day.